Okay, good evening, everybody. I don't think you can hear this. I don't think this is on. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, great. Do you want my teacher voice? Good evening, everybody. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've been in the classroom, so projecting takes some time. I apologize. Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. We would like to excuse our superintendent this evening as he is unable to attend due to a family emergency. So, Mr. Armstrong, may I have roll call, please?
President Wade, please let the record show that all board members are present.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I motion to approve the agenda. That was Ms. Van Hook seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Mr. Armstrong, you are up.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We are honored to share highlights from the Higley Unified School District and to celebrate the incredible students, staff, and families who make this such a special community. We kindly ask that all honorees return to their seats after their recognition and that all guests remain in their seats until all groups have been acknowledged. When you see your slide come up and you're being acknowledged tonight, please make your way on up and we'll be talking about you as you walk on up. All right. The Arizona Marching Band Association has launched the inaugural Arizona All-Star Marching Band, bringing together 190 dedicated high school marching band students from across the state who will participate in this year's Fiesta Bowl Parade. Higley High School celebrated the acceptance of 11 amazing students into the Arizona All-Star Marching Band, and we credit their success, the guidance of Mr. Sharp, and his team of outstanding band instructors. We would like to go ahead and congratulate them. Please give them a huge round of applause. Do you want them to talk? All right. We're going to continue with Higley High. Higley High School engineering teams excelled at the 2025 Makers of Change Assistive Technology Challenge, creating solutions for a child with cerebral palsy. Over 5 weeks, students focused on inclusion and innovation. Out of 100 teams, the overall competition winner, the Smart Little People, won Best in Show, while the Buzzy Ballers received the Newcomer Award runner-up and were finalists for the Levi's Choice Award. Their efforts showcase creativity and human-centered design. Congratulations to both teams, and we also like to show our appreciation to engineering instructor, Mr. Dan Etney, for his guidance. Congratulations. All right, before you guys leave, hold on. There's some inquiring minds, so who would like to go ahead and talk about the project and what it was for? Oh. You ready for this?
Okay, so basically we had 5 weeks, and the whole project was centered around a 5-year-old boy with cerebral palsy who has trouble with coordination and also interacting with his siblings. He has 2 younger brothers between the ages like 1 and 2.5. So he has a really hard time playing and interacting with them. The goal of the project was to create a concept and create a working prototype that is adaptive and allows him and his siblings to play together. So what we've created here is a tri-fold piano. As you can see, 3 sides for Levi and both of his brothers. We have 2 modes of play, which would be free play mode, where you can use it as a standard piano, where you click any key, a note will play, and a light will shine. You also have a collaborative mode, which was the basis of our idea of combining like innovation and adaptability. Basically, the keys will light up sequentially across the 3 pianos. A key will light up here, and once you press it, a note will play, and the next note will be sent to a next piano for the next player to press. The keys have been programmed to play the Bluey theme song per Levi's interest. So as you go around and play the song, 1 note per piano will light up, and once you finish the song, all the keys will light up as a little celebration. We also have 3 modes of adaptability for just kind of like an accessible setting. We have strict mode, which is basically where the one key that's lit up is the one key you have to press for the note to play. You also have the second mode, which is wide or lenient mode, where you can press either the lit up key or any neighboring or adjacent key. So one to the right or one to the left will allow the note to play. You also have a full setting where it doesn't matter what note is lit up. You can press any key on the keyboard and it will play the note. And those settings are per keyboard, and so it's very adaptable per each brother. And yeah.
Great job, you guys. Great job. Excellent job. Just another example of innovation and innovative learners within our district, so great job. All right, we'd like to call up Miss Joanna Aglier from Higley Traditional Academy. Each year, the Arizona Science Teachers Association honors outstanding educators who exemplify excellence. Congratulations to Joanna from Higley Traditional Academy for being named the 2025 Arizona Science Teacher Association's Middle School Science Teacher of the Year. That's awesome. Congratulations. All right, we have another amazing staff member that we'd like to recognize. Catherine Bonacci, come on up. We would also like to congratulate Katie Bonacci from Higley High School for being named the 2025 Arizona Science Teacher Association's High School Science Teacher of the Year. Ms. Bonacci is being recognized for her commitment to quality science education and her ability to inspire students to become the next generation of scientists. Both Mrs. Aglier and Ms. Bonacci were honored at the ASTA conference held on November 7th. Congratulations again. Huddle, right? Okay, Ms. Jennifer Huddle, are you in? All right, we'd like to welcome Ms. Jennifer Huddle, Williamsfield High School teacher. Ms. Huddle has been recognized with the Class Noble Educator of Distinction Award from the National Society of High School Scholars. This honor celebrates outstanding educators whose passion and dedication inspire students to learn, lead, and achieve their best. Each year, NSHSS student members nominate the teachers who have made the greatest impact on their academic journey. Ms. Huddle, who teaches band and orchestra at Williamsfield High School, was nominated for her unwavering commitment to her students and her ability to inspire a love of music and learning. Congratulations, Ms. Huddle. Mr. Campbell, are you in? Oh. EduPoint, our student information system, is thrilled to unveil a new awards program. We are proud to announce that HUSD's own Brian Campbell has been honored with the 2025 Synergy Community Champion Award. This award celebrates the individual who has shown exceptional engagement within the Synergy community throughout the year. To honor Brian's significant contributions, EduPoint will provide HUSD with a $1,000 technology grant, and Brian will enjoy a complimentary registration for the 2026 Synergy Connect Conference. Congratulations, Mr. Campbell. President Wade, that concludes Higley Happenings. All right. We're now moving on to the A-letter banner presentation. This is an awesome opportunity. You're going to hear it a couple of times tonight. The hard work of our community partnered with families, the teachers that we have, the students that we have, and the administration that leads each and every campus has made us an A district, and we are the only district in the East Valley to have all in-person schools receive an A rating from the Arizona Department of Education. So give them a huge round of applause. And for those of you that weren't noticing, there were two little girls up here in the front who were ecstatic because they saw that their school was receiving an A. So great job. We're going to recognize each school. So to go ahead and present the banner for Bridges Elementary, we have Mr. Bickle and Ms. Melter, principal and assistant principal. You guys want to stand? All right, next up for Centennial, we have Mrs. Day and Mr. Rogers, principal and assistant principal. All right, Chaparral, the Sharks. We have Principal Christine Hansen and Assistant Principal Terry Pepper. Come on down. We got a lot, so we're going to try to make as much space as possible. So Bridges, you may want to be ready to move down just a little bit. Oh. All right. Here to receive the banner for Coronado Elementary, we have Principal Brian Griggs and Assistant Principal Dr. Alice Stortini. All right. Next up, we have who do we have? Cortina. So for Cortina, we have Principal Kelly Papke and Assistant Principal. Is she here? Chrissy DeBono, come on down. All right. Representing Gateway Point Elementary, we have Principal Katie Harris and Assistant Principal Angie Walker. Come on down. HTA Hawks, the Higley Traditional Academy, we have Principal Karen Bacon and Assistant Principal Mandy Bachali. Come on down. All right. Power Ranch, where's Principal Michelle McNabb and Assistant Principal Nicole McCullough? Come on down. Congratulations. Awesome job. All right. To round out the elementary schools, we have Santan Elementary with Principal Ray Mercado and Assistant Principal Lindsay Reeves. Come on down.
All right, starting with the secondary schools. First up is Cooley Middle School. Mr. Chad Cantrell and Shayna La Sorenza, Assistant Principal. And Sossaman Middle School. Principal Bruce Potts, Dean of Students Leslie Cook, Higley High School, Principal Brian Bannock. Williamsfield High School, Principal John Dolan, Assistant Principal Daryl Stengel. And then we have one more banner that we need to give out that goes to the entire district, is an A-rated district. So Mr. Armstrong, if I can get the members of cabinet to come up and accept the banner from Mr. Armstrong. And then we're going to try and squeeze everybody into one picture.
All right, congratulations to all of our schools. If you guys want to come on over, we have your plastic wrap for the school. Centennial, Bridges. All right. Again, can we please give our students, our staffs, our administration, governing board, and our district office personnel for making that happen, because that is an absolute amazing feat. Give them a huge round of applause one more time. All right, we're moving on to our points of pride, and I'd like to call up Mr. Jeff Bickle and Mrs. Elizabeth Melter to go ahead and recognize their folks.
President Wade, members of the board, cabinet, thank you for the opportunity to recognize Bridges Elementary School's points of pride tonight. Just sitting here tonight, I'm just in awe at the greatness in the room between the kids, the schools, the parents. It's as good as it gets in the East Valley and really in the state. And so hopefully, everyone here recognizes that. It's amazing, an amazing place to be. And so with that, I would like to call up our volunteer point of pride, Rochelle York Tondreau. Come on up. Bridges Elementary School proudly recognizes Rochelle York Tondreau, our Executive VP of the PTO and Site Council member, for her extraordinary dedication and service to our school community. Rochelle has volunteered on campus for years, consistently bringing professionalism, kindness, and an unwavering commitment to supporting students and staff. Her organization, creativity, and ability to build strong teams have been vital to the continued success of our PTO and the smooth execution of every single event. She even elevates our campus behind the scenes. Her video editing talents have turned our fun run videos into a community favorite. Bridges is truly a better place because of Rochelle's passion, collaboration, and heart for service. Congratulations, Rochelle, on being named our volunteer point of pride. Clap for Rochelle. And who did you bring tonight?
My entire family, Presley, Graceland, my husband Matt, and my mom Rose. Thank you for being here.
Congratulations. So hang tight there. Yep. Next up, I would like to recognize Jeff McCula, our classified staff member, point of pride. Come on up, Jeff. Bridges Elementary School is proud to recognize Jeff McCula, our lead night custodian, as a cornerstone of our campus since the year we opened. Jeff brings professionalism, pride, and strong leadership skills to a role essential to the safety and success of our school, ensuring our facilities are spotless and ready each day. His unmatched can-do attitude shows in the way he consistently volunteers for extra tasks and supports every event with dedication. Jeff's reliability, work ethic, and team-first spirit truly exemplify excellence, and our shared Bulls and Blazers banter always adds a welcome touch of camaraderie. I don't win that very often because I'm a Blazers fan and we're not very good. So his commitment consistently and good humor make him an invaluable member of the Bridges family and a true point of pride. Congratulations, Jeff, on being named our classified staff point of pride this year. Thank you. You're welcome. And Jeff, who did you bring tonight?
What's that?
Who did you bring with you tonight?
Oh, I got my mom, Laurel, and my dad, Rich.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Welcome.
I would like to call up Mrs. Nicole Brokaw, who is our certified point of pride. Bridges Elementary proudly recognizes Nicole Brokaw, our outstanding 5th grade ELA and social studies teacher, as one of this year's points of pride. The remarkable impact she has on students and staff is limitless. Her classroom brings learning to life through innovative lessons that spark curiosity and foster a love of learning as she approaches every challenge with a no mountain too high attitude. A campus leader in project-based learning, Nicole designs meaningful, real-world learning experiences while continuously supporting colleagues with ideas, collaboration, and encouragement. And as your former teammate, I can say wholeheartedly that your expertise, professionalism, and dedication make you an irreplaceable part of the Bridges community. Yeah, we got the woo! Oh, who did you bring tonight?
My family, my wonderful husband, Austin, my boys, Nate and Ben, and then my teammates here, Amber.
And finally, I'd like to call up Miss Harper DeRoche as our 6th grade student point of pride. It is our pleasure to recognize Harper DeRoche as Bridges Elementary's 2526 Student Point of Pride, as she exemplifies what it means to be a leader, a learner, and a role model on our campus. A dedicated 2-year member of Student Council, Harper eagerly serves her school and community through events like Trunk or Treat, Feed My Starving Children, and the House of Refuge Can Drive. In the classroom, she consistently demonstrates exemplary behavior, strong academics, and enthusiastic participation, earning high praise from teachers for her hard work and collaboration. Her involvement in choir, orchestra, drawing club, running club, and SCAT further reflects her well-rounded character, making her a perfect example of a 21st century Bobcat. Congratulations, Harper. And who did you bring with you tonight, Harper?
My mom, dad, and my sister.
All right, congratulations, Bridges Bobcats. Now we're going to bring up Mr. Ray Mercado and Miss Lindsay Reeves to go ahead and shout out their points of pride.
All right. President Wade, Governing Board, Cabinet, and staff, community, thank you for this opportunity. Absolutely love when we can shout out the amazing people that make our campus just a wonderful campus. And so we are celebrating our 25th year serving the community and just proud of the work that everyone has contributed to making Santan awesome. Our teacher, Miss Jennifer Butow, 5th grade teacher, come on up. Awesome job. Ms. Butow, Santan is proud to recognize you for your exceptional dedication and unwavering commitment to our school community. Your team-first attitude and your ability to build strong, positive relationships with students, staff, and families make you an invaluable part of our team. Your passion and professionalism shine through in everything you do around campus, whether supporting programs, collaborating with colleagues, or engaging with students. Your contributions consistently foster a culture of care, excellence, and Scorpion pride. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Who did you bring?
I have my husband, my 3 kids, and my mom and dad. And friends, of course, from work.
All right, next up we have Harmony Neal, our student. This is straight from her teacher. Harmony truly embodies the spirit and values of Santan, consistently demonstrating excellence in leadership, friendship, and academics. A role model to her peers, Harmony leads with integrity, compassion, and positivity. Her commitment to living out the 8 habits is evident in everything she does, from her respectful interactions with others to her proactive approach in the classroom. She sets a high standard for herself and encourages those around her to do the same. Her kindness is infectious, creating a welcoming and inclusive environment for all students. Whether offering a helping hand, a word of encouragement, Harmony makes a lasting impact in our school community every day. Congratulations. Harmony, who did you bring with you today?
I brought my mom, my dad, and my sister.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us.
I told Harmony that was she ready when she got here for her 5-minute speech and says, I got this.
No, I did not.
All right, next we have Miss Nellie Macias. Please come on up. Awesome job, Nellie. Awesome job. Thank you for what you do. Nellie is an exceptional member of the Santan team who consistently goes above and beyond to support students, staff, and the entire school community. She brings warmth, humor, and heart to everything she does, creating a positive and welcoming environment wherever she goes. Whether she's working directly with students, lending a hand to a teacher, or helping with the school-wide event, Nellie approaches every task with dedication, flexibility, and genuine care. Thank you, Nellie, for all you do. Thank you. Congratulations. Who did you bring with you, Nellie?
My husband, Cesar, my 2 beautiful babies, Alyssa and Camila, and all my work people.
Thank you, Nellie.
All right, and we have our volunteer, Miss Katie Imes. For the past several years, Mrs. Imes has generously dedicated her time and energy to supporting our teachers and students on a weekly basis. Sometimes she's there multiple days a week. Whether it's making copies, preparing classroom materials, or lending a helping hand whenever needed, she consistently goes above and beyond to ensure we're set up for success. Her commitment doesn't stop there. She regularly checks in with her children's teachers to see how she can help, often purchasing and donating supplies out of her own pocket to help support our classrooms. Her generosity and thoughtfulness has made a lasting impact on our school community. In addition to her work in the classroom, every school event, anything going on at Santan and in the community, Mrs. Imes is an active, enthusiastic member, and she attends all of those events. She and her relationships with other parents at Santan helps to build a strong, supportive network. Her unwavering dedication, kindness, and community spirit makes her an outstanding candidate for this award. We're truly grateful for what she does and to be proud to recognize her for her contributions to Santan. And who did you bring with you tonight?
I have my husband and my 2 little scorpions and 3 little scorpions.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, we will pause briefly for those who wish to depart. All right. President Wade, members of the board, our upcoming events, we have Thursday, November 20th, we have our school visit to Chaparral Elementary. Wednesday, November 26th, there is no school. Thursday, Friday, November 27th through the 28th, Thanksgiving, no school there. Enjoy your turkey. Wednesdays, December 3rd, 10th, and 17th, we have the FAFSA night at Williamsfield High School. And then on Tuesday, December 9th at 5:30, we're back here for another board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. This, first, I would like to say it is really awesome to see all of the celebrations. It's such a remarkable thing, especially considering all of our schools are A's at the present moment in time. I'm grateful for the community members who continue to support us because we're doing amazing things, so I appreciate it. This was our last call for requests to speak, which brings us to our first request to speak. We have Gina Schmidl. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. I have to play the video, that's on me. It's been a long day.
We value input from our constituents. This time on our agenda has been set aside for anyone from the audience who wishes to address the board. Those that wish to speak should have filled out speaker cards, which are due prior to the start of our meeting. Members of the board may not discuss, comment, or take action on matters raised that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-4 31.01I, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Also, we ask that audience members practice proper public meeting decorum, refraining from either negative or positive responses, including clapping or verbal outbursts, to ensure fairness to all points of view. Those that refuse to follow these rules may be asked to leave. In accordance with Policy BEDH public participation at board meetings, if considered necessary, the governing board president shall set a time limit on the length of the comment period in order to ensure that each individual has an opportunity to address the board. The president may also set a time limit for individual speakers. Thank you for your cooperation.
All right, Ms. Gina Schmidl, thank you.
Thank you. I'm really thankful to be a part of this school district, and I wish to thank the students of Higley Unified School District for being very aware of the Higley community and being a vibrant and vital part of it. Higley students take purposeful actions to support various good causes and do what they can to find solutions to concerns they see in our areas. I have noted various ways our students give back to the community. In early October, I noticed pink balloons at Higley High School. I learned from social media that the Higley High School Student Council collaborated with the Sossaman Middle School Student Council in efforts to raise awareness of and support for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Chaparral Elementary Student Council has hosted 2 movie nights, one with admission being donations for local pet shelters, and one with admission being a canned food donation. In addition, Chaparral Elementary currently has a food drive, an Angel Tree holiday donation program, and a winter coat donation drive. Furthermore, Chaparral Elementary has once again invited Alex's Lemonade Stand to their Jingle Jog. Donations made to Alex's Lemonade Stand fund research that brings better treatments and cures to children with cancer. Williamsfield High School National Honor Society hosted the Trunk or Treat, with admission being canned food for the Stuff the Bus food drive. During said trunk or treat, the students of Williamsfield High School were engaging, kind, and interacted with my kids and their friends. In addition to joyfully handing out candy, they encouraged and celebrated participation in a beanbag toss, getting a small soccer goal, controlling a robot, and touching the slugs and brains and eyeballs. It was really wonderful to see the high schoolers genuinely care about the young members of our community. Thank you, Williamsfield High School students. I always only share examples which I personally witness, but I am certain that similar community-centered good things are happening across all campuses of Higley Unified School District. And finally, I wish to say thank you to Dominic, the brave student who spoke at October 14th board meeting. He is a wonderful example of the portrait of a graduate with his own strengths and weaknesses and areas where he will focus his studies. Dominic and all Higley Unified students deserve every educational opportunity that can be offered. Even when it might be hard, we must rivet our attention and efforts on doing what is best for all students. We must foster a lifelong love of learning as a foundation to success.
Thank you. Next, we have Thomas Murphy.
Good evening, Governing Board, District Administration, teachers, students, parents, and principals. My name is Thomas Murphy, and I'm fortunate to be the music teacher at Santan Elementary School for the last 22 years. I'm in my 23rd year. Santan is a phenomenal place to work because all the teachers work together. It takes a lot for elementary schools to function. It takes a lot of roles to play. So I'm here tonight to speak briefly in support of the elementary electives program. As many know, it's very high on the list to be cut or reduced next year. As I said earlier, there's a lot of roles to play at the elementary school, classified, certified, front office staff. Many of us feel, and many parents feel, that the elementary electives play a very strong part in that. We promote the growth mindset. Our classes are different, unique, yet vital. They're often an outlet for many students. Some students might be facing struggles in other classes. They can blossom in our class. They can find something they truly love to do, that they're good at, and then they can transfer that confidence to other subjects. They can begin to believe in themselves and believe in that growth mindset. Elementary electives teach kids for upwards of 7 years, from kindergarten through 6th grade. That's a long span of time. I think that's longer than any other type of teacher in the district. And we help build that foundation for students moving forward. From when they're wide-eyed kindergartners with untied shoes to when they're strong, confident 6th graders. And we have a lot of very strong, confident 6th graders. The library's the heart of the school. Our media center teachers foster a love of reading and help students navigate a rapidly changing digital landscape. Art teachers foster creativity and help students understand spatial relationships and how to see the world. Music teachers foster collaboration, and there's a large amount of research to back up that music improves reading, language, math, and fine motor skills. I also feel that we have a unique way to help students find their voice. Physical education, while not on this potential list to be cut, is just as important. The physical education teachers are experts in their field. They do a phenomenal job to promote lifelong healthy habits. Band, orchestra, and choir go further with students practicing on their own and then coming together to collaborate to put on performances. Every one of these separate programs support something that happens in the middle school, high school, and beyond. They all build a foundation. On a personal note, I once had an interesting conversation with Dr. Mike Thomason, and we were talking about former superintendent, Dr. Mike Thomason, talking about different teachers and different styles, and I was just kind of admiring some teachers I knew, and I had made a self-deprecating comment about, I'm just an elementary music teacher. It's not that big of a deal. And he stopped me and he said, you've had a positive impact on many lives. And I think that statement holds true for everyone that teaches elementary electives. We all have a positive impact on many lives, and we hope to continue to do so because these courses are valid and have a very important function in how the elementary schools work. So many of us ask that the district takes this into account moving forward, and we hope to be, again, doing our best to support Higley students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next, we have Jonathan Williard.
Hello, members of the board, district administration, and all in attendance tonight. My name is Jonathan Williard. I'm an art teacher at Higley Traditional Academy, and I've been there for 10 years. I am also here to speak in support of keeping elementary electives or specials. Because these programs are not extras, they are, in my belief, essential to a well-rounded education. And I am worried that current circumstances have placed them in danger of being removed or reduced from our district. In a presentation from the Arizona Department of Education that I attended this weekend, I learned that research and experience show that students who participate in arts are 5 times less likely to drop out of school. They score nearly 100 points higher on the SATs and are twice as likely to graduate college. In arts programs, they develop critical life skills like creativity, problem solving, and collaboration. These are skills that employers and communities value. The arts make learning more engaging and enjoyable. They lead to higher attendance and improved academic performance in other areas like reading, math, and science. These programs build confidence, foster self-expression, and help students acquire deeper and broader knowledge. Beyond academics, these opportunities in arts teach resilience, empathy, and civic responsibility. Students involved in the arts are more likely to do things like volunteer and vote as adults, traits that strengthen our communities. Elementary specials are not just classes, they are investments in student success, well-being, and future leadership. I urge you to find a way to continue supporting these programs so that every child has access to a truly well-rounded education within our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Heather Balch.
Good evening. I have 2 points that I would like to address this evening. First, I want to express my sincere gratitude to our community, the parents, current and former students, teachers, and staff members who work tirelessly to help share the importance of passing our budget override. I am deeply appreciative of the 7,717 individuals who voted yes. I also recognize that this number would have been even higher if the many parents who choose to send their children to attend our excellent schools had been given, but live outside our boundaries, had been given the opportunity to vote. To those who voted no, I am disappointed that so much misinformation about both our financial and our transparency coming from a certain governing board member and others within our community has influenced your perception. I understand that many families are facing financial pressures, and our district is facing them as well. If the state of Arizona had funded public education adequately and equitably, this would not even be an issue for us. Unfortunately, our legislators have chosen to provide charter schools and ESA programs with more funding per student than public schools receive, all while public schools continue to operate under intense accountability requirements. Accountability matters, of course, but it should be applied fairly and consistently across all educational systems. Higley has been more transparent in the recent years than at any point I can recall, and it's time for our community to recognize that. The second topic I wish to address is the Classroom Site Fund Performance Pay Plan, which is being considered in tonight's action items. This plan was carefully developed by Meet and Confer and shared with every certified staff member. Each certified staff member had the opportunity to vote on its approval, and an overwhelmingly 99.9% of staff members voted in favor of adopting it. This plan will allow us to utilize specific funds set aside for this purpose. Thank you.
Up next, we have June Blaine.
Good evening, Governing Board President Wade, Governing Board members, Cabinet. My brain went 2 ways. One, I could get up here and I can complain and talk about how my heart hurts, but I'm gonna go the positive route. And today I was able to take some 6th graders on a tour of Chandler Gilbert Community College and went into it thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a stressful nightmare in managing these kids. And I have to commend Chandler Gilbert Community College and the way that they ran it, but also our students. They represented us very well. They enjoyed the tour, and I learned a lot of the programs that were offered at a campus so close to our district, and thought it was a great little seed to plant into those sixth graders of possible options outside of high school or past high school, and some of the financial support they even touched on briefly, and some of the student supports that they have for their college kids. So it was great. We got to tour the aviation program, the nursing program, and also the mortuary science, which the kids were quite enthralled with. So they got to see some mannequins and kind of see the prep work that goes into that. So it was very well run, and I was grateful that we were able to take the kids on that trip and, like I said, plant that seed in there for life after high school. We do have our No Excuses University at Gateway, so it was a great tie-in to that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Jeremy Brewer.
Good evening, Governing Board, Cabinet members, district, school administrators, parents, and teachers that are here. I'm Jeremy Brewer, now in my 23rd year as a band and music teacher in the Higley District. Over these years, I've seen many programs and budget cuts. Tonight, I ask you to carefully consider upcoming budget decisions, especially those that most affect students' well-being. While cuts may be unavoidable, we must avoid eliminating or reducing these programs that truly change lives, particularly the arts and music. I've witnessed over the years students' lives saved and transformed by these programs. Music uniquely engages the entire brain, strengthening language, math, and lifelong learning. Once enhanced, the brain remains enhanced forever. There's science behind that. Remove this, and you remove one of the most essential forces shaping young minds. Cutting these programs also burdens elementary teachers, already stretched thin, with added prep and instructional duties, which directly takes away from their ability to care for each child, each student. The Arizona Department of Education states that K-5 students are to study a minimum of 2 artistic disciplines for at least 90 minutes weekly, with increased requirements heading into 6th grade. Imagine adding this expectation on top of language arts, math, science, and social studies standards to these teachers. Take away arts and music, and families may leave our district for schools that provide them, causing even less revenue and thus deepening our budget deficit. This also weakens our award-winning middle and high school programs these feed into. And we risk losing dozens of passionate educators dedicated to students' futures, who give of themselves and whose own families go without, including mine, in order for their students to succeed. I learned long ago that the well-being of students must outweigh every other consideration. I believe we all know this truth in our hearts, and as we truly use this lens, we make the right decisions for children. I implore you tonight to be creative, to think and brainstorm carefully, and take whatever time and energy necessary to make the right decision in the lives of these beloved students in our district. Because remember, in Higley, we got this. And as we keep these essential programs for students, we enable students to be able to say, "We got this," about themselves when challenges and hard times arise. This is the wish of every great educator and loving parent. This is my wish for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Travis White.
Good evening, President Wade, members of the board, community members, staff. My name is Travis. I'm a proud parent of a kindergartner in the Mandarin Dual Immersion Program at Coronado Elementary. Like many here, I know the decisions ahead are going to be incredibly difficult. And I want to say that I'm sorry that as a community, we couldn't come together to secure stronger, stable funding for our schools. Tonight, I urge you, as you deliberate budget decisions, to prioritize creative solutions to keep our Mandarin program and elementary specials intact. Mandarin and specials are not extras. They make Higley unique, competitive, and able to attract families who have a choice about where they want to enroll their children. If programs like language immersion, art, music, PE, and other specials are reduced or eliminated, we risk losing the very offerings that help our students excel and distinguish Higley from neighboring districts, just like celebrating all of the A's that we just got. Absolutely amazing. Across the country, signature programs like Mandarin and Strong Specials are what districts use to market themselves and boost open enrollment and counter declining student numbers. My daughter loves to tell me about her time in specials with Miss Z, Miss Saponte, and Coach Fry at Coronado. This is why I ask the superintendent, when he gets back, to collaborate with you guys on concrete and ambitious plans to promote these unique programs. Through more robust website content, outreach to community, making it clear to out-of-town families why they should choose Higley. Investing in and promoting what sets us apart can grow enrollment, stabilize funding, and help prevent the exact program cuts we're facing now. I do want to address something that's uncomfortable but important. To my fellow Mandarin families, please don't give up on the district yet. If many families leave now or signal their intentions to leave and start to have those conversations, it's only going to start to deepen the enrollment and budget crisis that we're facing and make it that much more difficult to save the programs that we care about so much. Staying engaged, speaking respectfully, and working with the district gives us a better chance to preserve Mandarin and our specials, not just for our kids, but for future families and for the other families who may not have as many choices or flexibility. I have immense empathy for those decisions, and I hope we'll stand together and seek solutions. In closing, my specific asks are, please direct the superintendent and staff to prioritize and find creative approaches to keep Mandarin and elementary specials as a top strategic priority, even amid severe budget pressures. Develop and share a clear plan to use these programs as a central piece in the district efforts to draw new families to Higley. Thank you for your service, your work in these challenging times, and for hearing from families, even when the news is difficult. We greatly appreciate your commitment to our students and community.
Thank you. Next, we have Emmy Wilt.
Good evening. My name is Emmy Wilt, and I'm a sixth grader at Coronado Elementary. Even though I live in Chandler Unified Boundaries, I've been attending Coronado since kindergarten for the Mandarin DLI program. I am here because I want the school board to know how the uncertainty around funding and electives affects students. Our electives, especially fine arts, are what makes school more than just coming to class. For a lot of us, fine arts, language programs, and other electives are the reason we look forward to school. Studies show that students involved in music and the arts consistently score higher academically. When you remove or reduce electives, you are not just cutting a class, you're lowering motivation, mental health, and academic performance. As a student, not knowing what programs will stay or disappear makes me feel anxious. It's hard to focus on school when adults around us don't communicate what the plan is. The uncertainty affects our mental and emotional well-being. I'm asking the board to clearly communicate the plan and timeline for decisions about what will be cut. Please involve student voices in that process. We live the results of your decisions every day. Students can handle hard news. What we struggle with is silence. Please communicate with us. Consider the impact on our daily lives and keep the programs that make our schools places we actually want to be. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Next, we have Ann Borowski.
Hi, I'm Ann. We clearly have a phenomenal district. Today was awesome. I loved seeing all the A's, all the schools, all the teachers, the amazing administration. We clearly are making a difference in the lives of thousands of children. And you guys have a difficult job. You clearly do, making difficult decisions about cuts, staffing, all of the things. At the same time, open enrollment in the neighboring districts is live, and unfortunately, people are leaving and people are enrolling in those districts, and that is a scary thing. My husband and I love Higley. We want to stay, and I know that sacrifices are going to be made due to losing the override. All I can do is encourage you guys to be really transparent. People are leaving because they don't know what's going on here. And ultimately, there hasn't been a lot of communication. I highly encourage you to keep us in the loop. Waiting until January is, to me, and to a lot of the other parents, is just too late. Waiting until the spring is too late. To give us a timeline or to update after you've met, even just to say, we're meeting, that would be encouragement. It would just be an act in the right direction. So please just communicate with us before more parents are leaving, because we want to stay in Higley. We know you have a hard job. We just want to know that we're headed in the right direction. As Emmy just said, that silence is devastating. And so communication is key, and we want to stay. So tell us what's going on. Bring us in the loop so we have some assurance of what's going on. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Brandon Borowski.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting me speak. Congratulations to all the A's that left. Yes, she married me. Don't ask me. Thanks for everybody that voted yes, for sure. And it didn't pass. My son plays soccer with Emmy's brother. That is not what Emmy said on Saturday after the soccer games when we were talking about this. All right, that was really eloquent. What she said is, they're taking away everything I love. And that sucked to hear, There's got to be something, a creative way to do this. It doesn't say eliminate anymore, but it did last month. Last month it said eliminate dual language, the language immersion programs. It says reduce or eliminate now, which is kind of all right. We need the electives. We really need the Mandarin community that's been built is amazing, and people at other schools don't see it. But if you're in that school and you see like all the Mandarin kids out hanging together and the parents and the relationships that you grow through the years of being together, I'm sure Sossaman has the Spanish. I'm sure that community builds because those kids stayed together the whole time there too. But that's not being threatened because it's packed. There's only one other Mandarin program. It's over at Tar Water. It's packed over there. This week, I believe, is the deadline to try to get into there. And I'm not saying we're going there, by all means. But this week is the week, and answers would be nice, some sort of plan. Combine the classes together. If you need to put, I know enrollment's low in it, but if you need to put first, second, and third grade together and combine them and have them go on, however it works. Enrollment's low also. There are a lot of schools here. And this one's hard for me to say. I don't come from education. I come from automotive. And I worked for automotive when times were good. And we lost the car market. Bad management, bad whatever you want to call it. We lost the car market. Really, we just didn't put any money into it and we gave it away. It's really hard to get that market back. because of things within the district, outside of the district, whatever, politics, public opinion, whatever, a lot of the market is gone because people get $7,000 to stay at home or whatever, because charter schools are so great, but there's 40 kids in a class there. You know, it's that stuff that people just get in their head and they believe. It's really hard to get that market back. They have to realize that that's a tough decision, that market might not come back and enrollment might stay around 12,000 when you have a capacity of 16,000. And then there is a budget problem. So I got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Up next, we have Kathleen Richards.
Good evening, President Wade, board, and administration. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. First of all, I want to recognize the fact that for all of those schools to be A-rated is really amazing. Some of those schools made leaps in order to get there, whether that was from last year to this year, whether that was over steady leadership over time. Our administrators here in the district office make sure that our sites all have some of the most tremendous leaders available to our young learners. And as a parent and a former educator, I am incredibly grateful for the work that you do. I do find it interesting that tonight, after we have obviously not passed our override, the theme of the evening so far has really been community. And what is community? It's our parents, it's our teachers. In theory, it should be the entirety of our board working together to do what is best for our students and teachers. There's a lot of misinformation that went out into our community over the last several years about what goes on here within our district, but I think tonight that those who have doubts about what might be happening in our classroom, I would encourage you to make sure that you're paying attention to what's actually happening versus the rumors that others like to spread. I want to share an anecdote because we have so many arts teachers, and I myself am a former arts educator, a music and theater teacher in middle school, which I deeply loved before coming here to Arizona. And I want to talk about what my daughter's reaction was to the override not passing. In our house, we are not quiet about the funding situation here in Arizona, and so my 10-year-old and my 14-year-old can talk very eloquently about why money matters in schools. And so my youngest daughter, who is very excited to be participating in orchestra, shout out to Mr. Lambert and his String Samurai program at HTA, she wanted to know what this meant for her orchestra program. And I was honest with her, and I said, I don't know, sweet girl, I don't know, but we're gonna work really hard to be creative because we have an excellent leader in Superintendent Lotzenheiser, and I trust that he will look at what the data shows in terms of arts education, and what it means for your overall education. And her response was, hey, Mom, what if I do a lemonade stand? And I go ahead and raise the money to pay Mr. Lambert so that he can keep teaching. And I want to let that sink into our community. That is the spirit of our children. That is what is important to them as they go about their daily lives on our school campuses. And that is what I hope that our board and administration hold both in their minds and their hearts as they go forward with difficult decisions. And I hope that our community, the whole of our community, including the naysayers, are listening and also take that to heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Mindy Brocker.
Thank you, President Wade, board, for allowing me to speak. I clearly wasn't prepared to do so tonight. But when I arrived and I saw the amazing robotics students, the A ratings, our points of pride, I couldn't help but be so encouraged about this district and how we will persevere. I have been absolutely privileged and grateful for all the parents, for the parents in district and out of district, for our teachers, for administrators that have worked so hard to try to pass the override. I'm also disappointed. I'm disappointed that I didn't learn and didn't know until after the election that money matters. And, well, I knew money matters, but I didn't know that Glenn Way, he is big here in Gilbert, founder of ALA schools. He has a political action committee. I just found this out. This political action committee makes sense, fights for charter schools. I noticed, unfortunately, that they sponsored a couple of school board members in the last couple of elections. Only a couple, one of them being Anna Van Hoek, whom they gave a sizable donation to. I also was very saddened to find that this sizable donation was not reported on any of the financial measures or reports that are required to collect that information so that we as parents and community members can know who we are electing. It makes me wonder about decisions that are being made, past and future, about information that is being spread, and about where this money went and what other money may have also been donated but never reported. So I want to make sure that you as a board know this and are aware of it so that you can keep that in mind when making future decisions. And I also would like to speak to parents in our community, in our neighborhoods, the ones that were so encouraged by Higley Unified Schools, who choose Higley Unified Schools. I would ask them to dig deep, to try to make a difference. You're not going to change the world, but you may change the day of a teacher. You may change the month of a student. Invest in your teachers, invest in your administrators, invest in your students, because little by little we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes requests to speak for today. I apologize to the board members and cabinet because I'm gonna do a 5-minute break. I have to go to the restroom.
I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
I do want to address public comment. I know some of you are upset that the override did not pass, and I want to be very clear. I never told anybody how to vote. What I did and what I will always do is make sure that the public has accurate information. So,
I'm sorry, Ms. Van Hoek. You can address something that was specific. I'm going to ask legal, at least the way I'm understanding this at the present moment. I disagree that that's what's happening.
President Wade, board members, at the conclusion of all the calls to the public, the board member has the option to respond briefly to criticisms, to direct staff, to bring an agenda item in the future, or to research a matter and possibly bring it back on an agenda.
thank you. What I will always do is make sure that the public has accurate information so that they can make an informed decision. That is governance. School board members are elected by the public to govern. We answer to the voters, not to staff, not to contractors, not to special interests, and not to HEA. The community spoke last year, and they spoke again this year. Whether we agree with the outcome or not, voters have the final authority in bonds and override elections. Some may choose to attack me personally for the outcome, but that won't deter me. Personal attacks do not change the facts, and facts don't care about your feelings. And they will not silence me from doing what I was elected to do: provide oversight, ask hard questions, and ensure transparency. It is neither political nor personal. It is common sense and good governance. We must ensure that we are transparent and accountable. That is how public institutions earn trust, not by repeating talking points, but by confronting reality honestly. I remain committed to serving this community with honesty and integrity. And whenever transparency, accountability, and good governance is at risk, I will speak up.
Could you give me just a moment to pull the relevant policy?
Sure. Yes, please. I appreciate it.
I just don't want the board to possibly have an open meeting law issue.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do what?
We're going to allow her to look up the policy because, again, it doesn't feel as if this is in line with that.
It is in response to public comment, so I don't see how it's not.
We're,
Nobody
I'm
asked you
going
to
to ask
speak.
that
Yeah, sorry.
I apologize. I just need a minute because your policies aren't on the normal spot where I find them. So just
No need to apologies. What? I do, but we're going to finish this and then I'll do it.
Okay, can I read from your policy?
Yes, please.
Okay, it is Governing Board Policy BEDH. It is the fourth bullet point down on your policy. It says personal attacks upon board members, staff, personnel, or other persons in attendance or absent by individuals who address the board are discouraged. Policies KE, KEB, KEC, and KED are provided by the board for disposition of legitimate complaints, including those involving individuals. Upon conclusion of the open call to the public, individual members of the board may respond to any criticism made by an individual who has addressed the board. So my recommendation with that response would be brief, just like your board member statements are a brief summary of current events.
Thank you for that.
Yes, and yes, nobody called me by name, but you don't attack anybody else other than me, so I will respond just like I did. So the law requires me to do what I do and to be transparent, and I will continue to do that whether you like it or not. Thank you.
I would like to, before the break, considering now would be the time to direct cabinet in that I think it is important for us when we are presented with what options we're looking into with respect to finances to do the very best we are capable of doing in terms of the creativity that was repetitively asked for here today. And we'll take that 5-minute break now. My apologies, everyone. Thank you. This brings us to consent agenda items. I motion to approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.20.
Second.
That would be Ms. Schultz seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 5-0. We would like to thank Gateway Point PTO, Higley High Booster Club, the Thunderbirds, Santan Boosters, Northrop Grumman, Jake Boyer, Williamsfield High School Football Boosters, former Girls Soccer Club Booster for their generous donations to the students and the schools. This brings us to item 6.1, 2026-2027 course guides. Mr. Fields, you're up.
Good evening, President Wade and governing board members. Presenting tonight an information item on the 2026-2027 course guide process. For your review, you can see in the packet there is the draft proposals, but I will go through the PowerPoint highlighting the process and our proposed changes. So we started the process on August 5th. That begins with a current review of the information from our previous course guides with the Ed Services team. Then we send out for proposals from that team as well as site personnel. We collect all those proposals and we have review meetings to review those proposals and make decisions on what we feel is in the best interest to move forward. We concluded those meetings on October 20th. That brings us to the information item being presented to you tonight. We will bring this back as an action item on the December 9th meeting so that we are prepared when registration begins in January. Personnel involved, you can see there are members of the Education Services team as well as school counselors from the middle school and high schools, administration members, both principals and assistant principals from the middle school, high schools, as well as representatives of the Higley Virtual Academy. So updated changes that we have, you can see there are 3 math support classes, algebra support, geometry support, and algebra 2 support. The proposal is to switch those classes rather than receiving a letter grade that those classes would be taken pass-fail. Students would still receive credit, but they would be for a pass-fail, not a letter grade. Proposal to change the prerequisite to Algebra 2 to add a prerequisite of Algebra 1. There is language changes to the course description for Capstone Research, AP Capstone Research, and AP Capstone Seminar that clarifies who's going to be choosing the topics, that those are chosen by the teacher, not by individual students. And then we removed the prerequisites for social studies courses. There are grade level recommendations, but we removed the course prerequisites. Those are graduation requirements, and so students are taking those sometimes out of order if they transfer to our district, and we want them to be able to take the course with their grade level peers. As far as additional courses, we are not adding any courses. We are more changing the title of a course. Honors Electrical Computer Engineering, we are changing the title and updating the description so that will become Honors Mechatronics Engineering. Mechatronics is inclusive of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and computer engineering all into one course. So that's more in line with what we teach. That's an intro level engineering course. As far as the middle school goes, we have 2 updates in the area of orchestra. First of all, we are updating the advanced string orchestra prerequisite to include teacher recommendation or audition. And then in the on-level string orchestra, we are removing the prerequisite. That's an intro level course that previously required students to have 2 years of, or at least a year of experience in orchestra. This gives more students a chance to take orchestra or learn about orchestra in the middle school. Higley Virtual Academy is no longer a school, so we updated the title of their course guide to include online program, clarifying that this is not a school, this is an online program. And then there was a update to the course codes for Visual Art 1 and 2. Those were middle school codes. We are no longer offering middle school courses, so those were replaced with the appropriate high school course codes. And then we have a special education course guide, but that is an internal document. It's not forward-facing. It is for students who have an IEP and qualify for those special education services. We are updating the course prerequisites for these courses that were previously listed in that course guide. All the others had IEP as a prerequisite. We'll be adding IEP to these courses. That is a prerequisite to enroll in these courses. Any questions?
Go ahead.
Actually, mine are you going to go over each individual course guide? Or, yeah.
No, they're included for you to review, but I'm not going to go over the entire course guides. Those are lengthy documents.
Okay, I have questions about the high school one. Can you tell me which course it was that would contain what we're calling sensitive material? Out of the, we've got AP English, 2 AP Englishes, 11 and 12, and then the college prep English, and then the honors multicultural, and then the creative writing. Do all those contain, would all those contain explicit content or sensitive content, or just?
It's not necessarily that they maintain sensitive content, but there's a process to address if they do. If the material presented is sensitive to one person or over an X, we don't determine necessarily what's sensitive to each individual, but there's a process to receive an alternate assignment in those courses where material may be sensitive.
Okay. And I know we discussed this last year, but my concern is in the course guide description for each class, there's nothing that tells parents that that class might contain sensitive information. And I think that that's not being very transparent. So if a parent decides to select that class and then finds out that there is sensitive, explicit content in that class, then later becomes an issue. And I would like for the course description to have some sort of verbiage to say that there might be sensitive content in the class, just for the sake of transparency, because that way parents can decide up front if that's a course that they want to choose for their students, versus finding out after their child's been in the class already.
Ms. Van Hook, before you move on to the next one, can I ask a clarifying question so I can understand, because I'm not looking at what you're looking at? You started this by saying it says sensitive material. Is that not the implication that those courses could have that as far as the course guide?
No, it does not. There's just language at the top of the course guide that explains sensitive material, and not necessarily for each course. Just at the beginning of the course guide, it mentions sensitive material, but not within each course.
Look, to be clear, with respect to high school, at the end of the day, I feel like there are a number of courses that could have that, which is why that information is presented. And then depending on the course and the curriculum for that year, as well as the teacher, that stuff is by policy, we give out ahead of time. It's not like you have to opt in or anything, in that every student is required to send home. And we even now updated, I don't know when, it feels like forever ago at this point in time, a year ago, that it has specific categories in terms of the sensitive material by nature is also part of that now. So I guess my question is, how is that not providing, at least to individuals who are prepared to take a high school course, that some of these courses in high school may contain sensitive material?
First of all, sensitive is not even a statutory term. Statutory term is sexually explicit, graphic, mature content. And so just having in there that says sensitive material is just not a statutory term, and that should be changed. But the fact that it doesn't list it within the actual course, so parents know that that specific course contains it, is the problem. At the top of the course guide, we say sensitive material, but how are parents supposed to know which course it applies to? And so I'm asking, for the sake of transparency, that we, in the description for the course, to say, this is the course that would contain explicit material, so that parents know ahead of time, so that they're, not making a decision to put their student into that class and then later having to opt their child out of any explicit material and having to leave class or whatever is involved in the whole process of their student not being involved in those kind of topics. So this is a transparency issue for me.
We have a mechanism to address that. That's addressed in our course syllabus. And the reason it's done in the syllabus and not in the course guide is the course guide is the general description of the course, not specific to each school. So you might have the same course taught at Higley High that is taught at Williamsfield, but it may not use the same set of books. And so each specific teacher sends out in their syllabus at the beginning of the course for parent approval what the books are going to be and which ones on that list are potentially containing that material. And then we have an add drop policy within the first 10 days. So if a parent chose no harm, no foul, they can switch. It does not affect their GPA, their transcript, anything. It doesn't go on their transcript at all. They can switch courses.
I also would like to add the term sensitive over that. We go above and beyond when it comes to some of our assignments. So there are some assignments that don't meet the sexually explicit material, and yet we still send home to parents because we recognize that some folks may be going through some of these topics that aren't sexually explicit, let's say, or wouldn't be part of that might still cause some difficulty for families at home. And so again, I think limiting us to what the legal description is doesn't imply that there's a broader scope, that at the end of the day, we work really hard here to give parents the choice. And I also think it's important that what constitutes sensitive for one may not be for another, in that while I recognize the high school may have curriculum that is difficult in nature, that is part of the course of history. For example, teaching the Holocaust is real rough every time. And that would be sensitive in nature. And so I feel like if we make it something that it's different, you might have people who are excluding themselves from something because they fear something, rather than taking the opportunity to look at the syllabus and actually see what it is that we're talking about here.
And in the same note, and I'm not saying sexually explicit, but the word explicit, graphic, and mature content would be the more appropriate language to use based on statute. And even putting that in, parents still can do exactly what you just said. But my point is to utilize language that is statutory, that's a statutory term, and not using the word sensitive because that is much more vague than the intent of statute, which is why they used those words specifically.
I think the reason for sensitive is that it's more inclusive of other situations outside of just sexually explicit material, that someone may be
Graphic,
sensitive
mature.
to, you know, a death situation, a book that perhaps discusses a parent death or something, and their particular situation, they're currently sensitive to that, and it would give them the option to do something else for that unit.
Yeah, I mean, that would still fall under graphic or mature content. So utilizing explicit graphic or mature content would still be covered under that versus sensitive being pretty vague. But again, I think it's important that we are transparent so that parents can make an informed decision. The next, let's see.
Well, before you move on, I think she had Ms. Schultz had a comment, and I also did. Before you move on, can we do?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Your mic is on.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to suggest, this is not an action item until December 9th. So what you could do is you could write some sort of description to be added to whatever courses you want that says this course may contain sensitive material. If so, you'll receive a syllabus and a permission slip from the teacher. But this, I would say that, rather than discuss this for hours now, it's not an action item, but bring it back for an action item on December 9th when we have the course description book, and then we can take action on that, would be my suggestion.
Right, and that's my whole purpose, is having this discussion so that we can look at making those updates before it's brought back for a vote.
Well, I
Madam
would like to.
President?
Oh, go ahead.
Board members, I just wanted to remind you, you do this, some of this is covered in your policy KB, which is the Parents' Bill of Rights. And I just wanted to read a portion of the policy too. So it says objection to a learning material or activity on the basis that is harmful includes objection to a material or activity because it questions beliefs or practices in sex, morality, or religion, or because of sexual content, violent content, or profane or vulgar language. So you do have a procedure that would allow the opting out of a particular portion of a piece of the curriculum.
Thank you. I also wish to express that I think talking about it is one thing, but to say that we aren't transparent because you disagree is something else. And so it's okay to say, I think we should go farther, but to say that we're not transparent, when you literally started this with an expression that all these courses have that, and we have redundant things in place to ensure that process, feels disingenuous to say that it's transparent. It is okay to say that I think we should do this, and as Mr. Glover expressed, I think we're all open to that. It's the manner with which your presentations are for the things that you specifically take issue with.
Okay, so clearly you did not look at the course guide because you would know that it's not in the description. I started off by asking which of these courses would have explicit content. So I'm not saying that we have a problem with being transparent about our course guide. What I'm saying is I would like to be transparent and put it in the course guide description, because currently sensitive materials is listed at the top of the course guide. So parents don't know which course it actually applies to. That's what I'm saying. And yes, not only with our Parental Bill of Rights, but now with Mahmood versus Taylor, parents have a right to opt out based on religious beliefs, which is great. But again, it's after the fact that once parents sign up for the course, sign their children up for the course, that then they're finding out that there's explicit content. Let's tell them ahead of time so that they can make an informed decision, because it is not in the course description for each course.
President Wade, can I say something? So yes, in this course guide, obviously it's itemized and it's kind of hard. So if there could be an asterisk or something that pivots that parent to see that there could be potential sensitive content and that they will look for notification of the course curriculum literature that's going to be released. That way the parents, as they scroll through the courses, they can swiftly just be pivoted to the sensitive. So just a little extra step if we could bring that transparency a little bit more. Does that make sense? No, something like that? Did that make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
which courses that I would label as potentially having sensitive content. Because it's going to be dependent on the individual teacher and their list of novels, that is from the approved list of novels that the board has approved, that already has, these ones require a permission slip, these ones do not.
So we can't say this course could potentially have?
I guess you could say all of them could potentially have.
So a math course wouldn't have
They
it.
can pull
So it
from
would
the
be,
approved curriculum materials.
And again, would that not be covered when at the top of it, it says sensitive material could be presented in some of these courses, right? Is that not what you read at the beginning of this? The idea of putting it an individual thing, again, if it's expressed at the top, I hear you, and I think all of those things are fair. I also go, there are policies and practices that we have in place. When the course guide goes out and kids are signing up for it, we don't even know who's teaching it sometimes because we don't know which teachers are coming back. So again, these things can be difficult when we don't have our staffing decided, and our staffing has to be based off of the number of students who sign up for courses. And I recognize that you may have parents who sign up for a course and then have to change said course, and that is an unfortunate situation when that specific thing happens. But by and large, it doesn't happen. We have the permission slips. We had the issue that we had with the books, and it was a singular individual who didn't even leave the course. One person did, so it was two. I think there's...
this isn't about one specific parent.
We want to have the option for students and parents to have the ability to get an alternate assignment at any point during a course, not just totally avoid a course because there's a small portion that they find offensive or don't want to be a part of, right? Absolutely, that's their choice, and we want that to be their choice. So there's the option to completely not enroll in the course, but there's also an option to stay in the course and say, hey, we find this particular piece offensive, I want you to an alternate assignment for that piece.
Yeah, but my thing is, why wait until the parent enrolls in the class to then notify them? I don't understand why it's such a problem. I mean, under sensitive material, we say high school course material, especially dual enrollment and AP courses, may contain sensitive material. So for the courses, which most likely would be an English class, I don't understand why we can't do an asterisk or put some sort of language in the course guide for that, for dual enrollment or AP English classes, to say these would potentially be the class. I don't understand why it's a big issue not to be able to do that, to let parents know ahead of time.
President Wade, yes, and just to continue on, like the literature, obviously if teachers are choosing from books, then automatically you could assess or just assume potential sensitive. And I think what's very important is pivoting the parent to pay attention to those emails for those syllabi at the first. And so, yes, we can argue both sides, like, will it deter some parents? Maybe, but ultimately we want to make sure that parents know exactly what to be looking for and what they're signing up for. And parents are adults. We want to give them that choice with their student, if that makes sense. So yes, if we can be a little bit more transparent, that way parents know that they will get options at the beginning, but yes, we will be covering sensitive materials in this topic. That would be great.
Your next
one. And then as far as the HVA courses, would the same, I didn't see the sensitive material noted in the HVA course guide. Would it not apply to any of those courses?
I don't know, I would have to go and look at those HVA courses specifically and try and determine what potentially sensitive material would be in each and every one of them.
Okay, yeah, so the only one that it's a sensitive material that I noticed was just the high school, not HVA, and I would hope it wouldn't be in middle school, but since it only applies to dual enrollment and AP, then I would assume it would apply to HVA. And again, the SPED course, as I mentioned last year, I don't like the fact that we use the Castle doctrine for our special education students. And then for the Algebra 2, what is the prerequisite for Algebra 2 or Advanced String Orchestra?
So for Algebra 2, there was no prerequisite, and we are recommending to add the prerequisite of Algebra 1. The Advanced String Orchestra, we are recommending to add the prerequisite of audition or teacher approval, and then to remove the prerequisite for regular string orchestra so that students can take that without having prior experience in orchestra.
Okay. And then I also mentioned this last year, but the language, the non-discrimination language that contains, includes sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. I think that wording, extra wording needs to be removed based on the, exactly what Title IX actually requires, which prohibits discrimination basis of sex. And under current federal rules, and that means biological sex. And by taking that additional language out, it would align us with the official Title IX wording and would cover everybody.
So if you want to add that with the other proposal that you're going to send forward, that we'll take a look at it.
Okay. I also noticed in here, it says schools may disclose without consent directory information, and due to HB 2514, that is now against the law. So that language has to change because we can't share directory information without parental consent. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Before I move on. All right. Thank you, Mr. Fields. This brings us to item 6.2, 2024-2025 A through F letter grades. Mr. Armstrong.
President Wade, members of the board, thank you. Tonight we're going to just give an overview of how our district performed once the PowerPoint comes up, and give some information about our A through F letter grades. Obviously, we heard it multiple times, and I said it, we're going to hear it multiple times, just how great our students performed, our teachers helped those students perform, and our administrators continue to do right by students and getting them ready to go in their current grade level and in the future grade levels as well. All right, tonight we're focusing in on strategic anchor 1, which is teaching and learning, student success, and we're going to see some of that information coming up. This slide is here to show our letter grade over the course of the last 3 years in which they started providing districts with actual letter grades. And what's a huge shout out for our district is that if you look, the scale score was a 3.93, which is 0.7 of a point away from that 4.0. And so that's a huge testament to our district and everyone that is involved. This is our district in comparison to districts in the East Valley surrounding us. As you can see, the orange are A's, green is B, blue is C's, yellow are D's, and then the light blue is the unrated, and those are schools that are actually going through a review process or under review process with the Department of Education in those particular districts. Huge shout out again to all of our campuses, our community. Thank you for partnering with our schools and getting our kiddos ready each and every day to come to school and continue to shine with how we are performing as a district. I do want to also shout out that that B is our HVA program, and they even increased from a C to a B as well. So that's, again, the amazing things that are taking place within our district. A couple of celebrations, huge, really just amazing. Gateway Point and Cooley improved from a B to an A. And that's a lot of work. And when you see later on the presentation, the point totals, you'll be amazed at just how well they have done. Both high schools earned 19 out of a possible 20 points on the CCRI. I did have to go over to Mr. Fields today and say, hey, remind me, what are all the CCRI components? And he looked at me and said, there's a lot. You don't have enough time to write them down. But it is amazing, and congratulations to our high schools. English learner reclassification and growth exceeds the state rates. This is huge, and this was across our district. The Department of Ed, we actually are trying to recognize individuals for their hard work regarding this diverse group. And I will tell you that it's been absolutely awesome to see just how great our English learners are doing, embedded into our everyday classrooms and learning throughout the day. It's evident, and schools did an amazing job with that. And that's a huge shout out to Mrs. Garland and her teachers that are particular to our EL students. Absolutely amazing. 4 sites improved their chronic absenteeism yearly over the last 3 years. We are graded on absenteeism, and that is a huge push because those can be considered points as well, obviously. And 4 of our sites over the last 3 years continually improved, which we find can be difficult at times. So we're continually talking to all of our sites, and our admin are very intentional. Shout out to Power Ranch today. I was with them, and they had a strong discussion as a campus, as well as a staff, and as well as their school site council about this particular topic as well. All right, so how are we graded? We're gonna go through this for everyone real quick. The K-8 model, it's obviously based off of 100 points. 50% of it is growth, 30% of it is proficiency. Our EL, and if people were to look at our campuses, you would have to have a certain number of a population, which is about 10 students, to be eligible for EL and the other diverse groups. So that's also worth 10 points. And then acceleration and readiness, there are multiple components that go into that acceleration and readiness percentage, and our schools do a really good job. One of those is actually looking at our diverse group data, our subgroup data, and they focus in on that because you can receive up to 6 points as long as students are continually improving from the previous year. Bonus points, that is science proficiency above the state average. You get up to 3 points based off of that. And then special education enrollment within 60 to 100% of the state percentage, schools will receive 2 points as well. And that's a huge piece because Mrs. Miller does a really good job of ensuring our schools are fully aware of where they are and how we are helping our students who are special education students. All right, this is the celebration. If you take a look, you will see that every school obviously is an A. But what's really remarkable and something is 8 of our schools jumped a total of 3 points or higher from the previous year. And as we said, a huge shout out. Gateway Point at an 80.10, they jumped to 86.68 points. And that is huge. And they continue to focus in on collaborative teams and focus in on learning. Huge shout out to Coronado Elementary, who received 100.66 of the points. And that's awesome. Bridges, just down the line, I can't express enough just how hard when we walk into these, you guys walk into the buildings as well. We have a visit coming up this Thursday, and just to see the amount of work that our teachers are doing, the amount of work that they plan for, they're intentional about direct instruction, they're intentional about intervention, small group time, and it takes a collaborative effort, and it really is amazing for our elementary schools, so we're very proud of them. Middle school, huge shout out. Take a look at that. Cooley Middle School, 76.24 points, jumped it up to 84.73. Big shout out to Mr. Cantrell and his team. I know he's been very intentional about the work that he's been doing over the last 3 years, and we are very proud and honored to say that both of our middle schools are really shining in this process. 912, not necessarily my wheelhouse, but I'll speak to it. All right. Super, as you can see, graduation rate, CCRI is worth 20%, proficiency is 30%, growth is 20, and EL is 10. And they follow almost the exact same as the K-8 model in terms of science and special education, but they also have bonus points that can be given for their ACT Aspire participation. And they can receive up to three bonus points, not 30. Here it is. As you see, amazing. We're continuing to grow. 2 points 1 point away, 0.7 points away for Williamsfield High School. Awesome. And then Higley High continuing to move up as well. And again, another testament to teachers, students, and our administrative team on those campuses. Again, before I'm done, I can't say it enough that the work that our teachers and our students continue to do directly results into the achievement. We know that this is just one data point, and I want to remind everyone, this is just one data point of the great things that are taking place within our district. There are multiple, if you were to take a visit and walk around and see our students engaged in activities, engaged in learning each and every day, that you'll see where else we are excelling. And a huge shout out to our entire community. And we thank them for everything. Our teachers, you guys are doing an amazing job, so thank you. I'll take any questions.
I again just want to congratulate everyone and thank you for putting this together. I would like to see some additional information such as subgroups, like root cause explanations, numbers related to chronic absenteeism, CCRI breakdowns, and what our future plans are to kind of keep this going. And were there any changes in the requirements from the state as far as the grading system? Did anything change this year versus last year?
No, there were no major changes.
Okay. Just to kind of get a better understanding, as far as what interventions were used, what we did to increase these grades, and just to also include ELL, SPED, low-income minority subgroups, to get a better understanding of the achievement gaps. And then, just all those categories I listed, just to kind of give a breakdown, and then also special ed, I want to understand like what actually drove these improvements, and if they're, sustainable, and what we'll continue to do to keep those grades up. I also would like information. I know chronic absenteeism is an issue across the nation, and just to understand the 4 sites that we saw improvement in, what did we actually do to improve the absenteeism issue within those 4 schools? And then both high schools earning 19 out of 20 had, how we went about achieving those points. I know CCRIs include, CT, AP courses, and FAFSA, dual enrollment. But again, just knowing what all went into it versus such high level, I want to see all the main components at the bottom. If we can get that, that'd be wonderful. And then as far as Higley Virtual Academy, we jumped from an F to a B. And I know.
I'm sorry, Board President Wade, Member Van Hook, they were a C.
Okay, so an
They were a
F
C.
to a C. Okay, I'd like to understand how, they went from a C to a,
They were a C
okay.
that went to a B.
Got it, okay. Sorry, seeing 58% in my mind is not typically a C, but I'd like to also understand like what changed, and then at what, did we eliminate HVA completely already?
So HVA is a
Just the
program
online.
now, it's not a standalone school.
Right,
So
okay.
it's unclear with the state at this point whether they will continue to receive a letter grade for the next year or two until the cohort of students that is in that group completes. But they will then become part of, those students are enrolled at Higley High School or Williamsfield High School right now and take online courses as part of their enrollment. So their scores should eventually turn into Williamsfield scores or Higley High scores, not HVA standalone scores, because they are no longer a school, they're a program.
So we do have students that are 100% online, but their home school is either Williamsfield or Higley?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Fields, wouldn't that be hard to do the numbers? Wouldn't that be, the numbers would be off if you're, like, there's a chance that the online school would still have a grade?
Mr. Berkshire's not here.
Okay.
But in our
Just seems
conversation with
odd.
him, Mr. Armstrong and myself, he expressed that there's a potential that the
Oh,
state
really?
may have them continue to receive scores until a certain cohort in that group
Okay.
moves on. And he was not 100%, so I don't want to say that for sure they are. It's a may
Yeah.
at this
They would
point.
just be skewed, I would think they would be off, right? But I just want to say kudos to Mr. Cantrell and Cooley Middle School, because that was a huge jump for them, and middle school is hard. I have one who I have to beg to go to school every morning, but getting those kids to class, then that's amazing that he was, I think it's been 4 or 5 years since they were in A, is that correct?
Yeah, and middle school is actually the most difficult level to earn a high letter grade, because there are bonus points at both the high school level and the elementary level. And the middle school, if you'll notice, has no bonus points.
Right, correct. So they have to work extra hard.
I'm sorry. They still have, so.
They still have some bonus points, is that what you're trying to say?
They follow the K-8 model.
Okay, yes.
And so they have the bonus points, and they have the opportunity for some. And Mr. Berkshire can speak to this far better than we can. The components of within some of the pieces of this model that are focused in on middle school make it a little bit more difficult.
No, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Thank you. I wish to express, again, gratitude to all of our staff. At the end of the day, this comes down to the teachers and the work that they are putting in. To some of your questions on how we identify these things, it is teachers knowing some of our tests have changed in recent years, and so we've talked about it with science in that it's a brand new test, and so then teachers go, okay, we need to make sure that we start looking at how to get some of these critical thinking skills or how to get some of these skills in our everyday classrooms, and then it helps us to be better to identify our students who are struggling and how we can come together and work through that. So at the end of the day, this work is at the hands of each and every teacher who works with a student, every para, every classified staff who assists in that process, because it is not easy. Taking tests is hard routinely. Ultimately, a lot of our schools are already doing well. They were A's to begin with. We had 2s that were B, and then they moved up. And it's difficult to maintain an A as well, because you have to continue to show growth, and that is hard. And when you look at different cohorts coming through and all of those things, it matters. So I appreciate the work. What I wish more than anything is that we had community members outside of this that recognize what that means, that recognize what it is that our school is doing and the effort and the work that comes through, because throughout some of this, you hear things and say things, or you hear people talk about how Higley isn't, performing well, and at the end of the day, by every single metric we are. By every single metric, we outperform a lot. We outperform everybody in this area, and we outperform across the state. And I think for those of us who maybe aren't a part of education, and when you look at some numbers, for example, the 58, it matters what metrics they are going forth. It's the same reason that when you have a 4-point scale, sometimes people get upset because they go, why is my kid not a 4? You tell me they're passing and they're only a 3. And again, it's how rubrics are done. And ultimately at the state level, it's because of rubrics. So kudos to every single one of you. I know that this week is hard, especially because everybody wants to go away for break, and the raining and all of that makes it rough, and it has been a long year. But I appreciate each and every one of you and the work that you are doing, and to every single one of our students who sit what feels like a million tests, you are awesome and you're performing spectacularly. This brings us to item 7.1. Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Really fast. My question was, last year, I think, didn't we get a comparison with the charter schools, or no, was that? And I didn't see that anywhere, so I was just gonna ask.
President Wade, Vice President Schultz, we did. We didn't, that wasn't put it into this presentation, but.
Do you have those notes just that you could send, or?
Yeah, we can, I'll make that note and we can send that to you.
Okay.
President Wade, just to pass on a message too from Superintendent Lotzenheiser, him and Marcus Berkshire are going to come back with a comprehensive dig into all of this information and present that to you guys in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item 7.1, approval of JLC, Student Health Services and Requirements, second read. Do I have any questions or comments from the board before I motion? I motion that the governing board approves JLC, Student Health Services.
Second.
Ms. Van Hook, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Was that an aye? Motion carries 5-0. Sorry, I didn't hear. Item 7.2, approval of JLF, reporting child abuse, child protection, third read. Any questions or comments from the board before I motion? I motion that the governing board approves JLF, reporting child abuse and child protection.
Second.
That would be Mr. Glover. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. This brings us to item 7.3, approval of 2025-2026 HUSD goals. Due to the fact that Mr. Lotzenheiser was unable to attend today, I am going to motion that we table this specific discussion or passage, just in case any of us have any questions for Mr. Lotzenheiser, and then that way he can be here until our December 12/9 meeting.
Second.
Ms. Schultz, seconded. All those in favor of tabling this specific agenda item until December?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. This is 7.4, consideration and direction on ASBA bylaw change proposal. Any questions or comments from the board before I motion? Ms. Zimmerman, for clarification, does it matter who we designate for the motion there?
It does not.
Okay. So I'll just put in my name unless somebody has an issue with that. All right, great, yeah. Yeah, I figured. I motion that the governing board designate Amanda Wade as the voting representative I'm saying in favor of the proposed bylaws, December 16th, 2025 at 5 p.m.
Second.
That would be Mr. Glover is seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Hold on. Okay. Item 7.5, discussion regarding board self-evaluation. Any questions or comments from the board before I motion? I'm the one who actually put it on, so I will make a statement in that I think it would be beneficial for us as a board to do this self-evaluation and take some stock about where we are with respect to functionality as a board and the things that we are capable of doing for here in Higley.
President Wade?
Yeah.
We didn't do this last year. We did it the previous year, though, right? I just want to make sure we only skipped 1 year.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was, thank you.
Because we had 2 members who were,
New.
yeah. Well, no, it was last fall, and so we had 2 members.
Oh, outgoing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
So it didn't matter.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
No worries.
It's coming back.
I motion that the governing board hold a self-evaluation next year.
Second.
That would be Ms. Schultz seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Jarman, was that an aye? I apologize, I did not hear. Motion carries 5-0. This brings us to item 7.6, ratify expense voucher 1041. Any questions or comments from the board before I motion?
Yes, so I had this item pulled because Mr. Lotzenheiser's agreement says that there is no mileage and that he gets a $750 car allowance per month. And he did submit for mileage. And so I just wanted to point out that per contract, we agreed that there is no mileage. And so I don't know at this.
Expressed.
Madam President, I can address the contract issue.
That'd be great, thanks.
There are a few provisions of Mr. Lotzenheiser's contract I'd like to read to the board. So paragraph 12 talks about an automobile allowance and requirements. It says, to accomplish his work under this agreement, superintendent is expected to have a personal automobile available for school business. The district agrees to provide superintendent with an automobile allowance of $750 per month during the term of this agreement, covering all district obligations for the superintendent's personal and official automobile use, and in lieu of the district reimbursing mileage for the superintendent's routine business-related car travel throughout the district. The automobile allowance shall be paid in equal installments. So then there's a paragraph about reimbursement of expenses. So the language that I raised to the board is that it specifies it's for routine business-related car travel throughout the district. Then the paragraph 13 on reimbursement of expenses, in the middle of the paragraph, the relevant sentence says, the district shall pay or reimburse superintendent for other lawful, reasonable, and necessary business expenses incurred by the superintendent in the performance of his duties under this agreement. So it's my understanding that the board has previously approved out of city travel reimbursement mileage for other superintendents. And the board has already approved the travel, so if the request is to possibly reconsider that approval, I'd need to bring it back on a future agenda on how that would happen.
Yes, so previous superintendent did have a car allowance plus mileage. But this contract says no mileage. Now, there are things obviously I can't say due to executive session, and I think that this does require further conversation that we probably have to have an executive session to further discuss, because it's hard for me to say things without exposing what was discussed. But what I can publicly say is the contract does say no mileage, and I can't say anything further without having executive session. So I do think that we do need to have one and further discuss this.
President Wade, doesn't it say routine? Isn't that what you're saying? It says routine, and this was travel expense? So
Right,
that's why it's
it
different?
says essentially, the stipend is in lieu of the district reimbursing mileage for routine business-related car travel throughout the district.
So
And then we
for-
approve
Whether
the
it's
travel,
within the
and so
district
this is
or out of
correct.
town.
I was going to say, this was for a training that he had in Tucson.
Right.
So I guess what I'm,
So it's outside of the routine,
what it,
correct? Or
I
we're
guess
not
what
sure?
I'm, the question is, we get to decide whether or not that is outside of the routine. I think per the voucher and per the travel expenses, yes, because let's pretend that was in Vegas or LA or whatever, and he flew, we would pay the airline ticket. And so my assumption is that's probably where this comes down to, in terms of outside of the routine, and why that's part of the voucher, given what his contract specifically states.
And yeah,
I'm
it's,
sorry, go ahead.
I can't go into detail, obviously, what was discussed in executive session, but we do need to have one in order to further discuss this, because there was things that were discussed that needs to be brought up again.
Okay, board members, I
Yeah.
just became aware of this issue today, so I think I'd like to understand if the same term was in a prior superintendent, your prior superintendent's contract, and then to just understand operationally how the district approved the previous superintendent's travel. So if the board could give me a little bit of time to do that research, and then could come back with options.
Go ahead, Mr.
Madam
Glover,
President.
before.
So,
Yeah.
thank you. So just to be clear for anybody who's trying to follow what we're talking about here. So if we had let's say a music teacher that taught at both middle schools, federal regulations tell us how much mileage they can get, and we pay them, and they use their own personal vehicles, so they get wear and tear and gas mileage, and they travel between, and they have to document every event and turn that in monthly. When we approved that for the superintendent, I wasn't thinking at all, it didn't even occur to me to think about driving to a conference. So I think it is something that we do need to clarify and be clear and decide what we want. If this voucher needs to be approved, Ms. Rushkamp, now, we can, if you've got stuff to do, so, I mean, we could remove the 125.02 and pay the rest. Someone can make a motion for that if we want. But we need clarity, and this, if the superintendent was wanting mileage from driving from Bridges Elementary to the district office, that would be a big no-no. But this is a unique circumstance and not something that I think was deliberately discussed. So we need clarification as well, so we can all agree on what's what.
From a legal perspective, in order to, because the voucher is filled with other things besides just the specific issue, which we obviously need to approve. So is it possible for the motion of that specific aspect of that? I don't know what that looks like retroactively, so I'm just making sure I know what I say as we progress forward.
Ms. Rushkamp, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they could omit that one particular item. Would that be acceptable? And then approve the remainder? Another option, you are agendized to go into executive session for legal advice on any item on the agenda. So if you wanted to convene an executive session now, that's another option.
I mean, would you have your answer to our questions in that time frame? If not, then obviously I'm here to respect your knowledge, and that way we know how we're progressing from here on out, basically.
Yes, Madam President, I'm not sure I have all the answers to your questions because I don't know exactly what they are, but I obviously have the superintendent's contract in front of me. I know what my advice would be to you, given the facts I know, but if you want me to conduct additional research, I would not have that tonight, obviously.
And I would actually nothing against you, but I would actually like for Rob Hawes to be there, considering he was the one that was there at the time of discussions. And I would assume he knows what we discussed at that meeting, and it would be helpful since he was there.
Sure, I can talk to Mr. Haas and see if he's available.
Thank you. And also, did you say that we can just remove that item for now, or would you prefer that we approve and then based on what discussion occurs with the attorney, that could be reimbursable? How would you prefer?
President Wade, Board Member Van Hook, I believe that would be the best, since this is part of a voucher with several items on it. That would be the best way to proceed, is approve it, and if we find out, once you go through executive session, that that particular piece needs to be reimbursed, then we could look at that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So then call it off, Scott. You don't need to do the motion. I appreciate it. I motion that the governing board ratify expense voucher 1041.
Second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Schultz, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. This brings us to 7.7, approval of overnight and/or out-of-state staff travel to the NASP. Any questions or comments from the board before I motion?
Yes. The reason why I had this pulled is because there's several things in NASP's official position that first I don't believe align with our district policies and our community. Just their position statement had a bunch of I would say, stuff that was pretty out there, just related to mental health, to, things that go against parental notification rules, and just based on everything that I've read, I just can't support this travel due to their position.
For clarification, and I don't know who's the answer on this one, we still have the policy in place in which any staff member who attends a training and that training is expressing things that are outside of our policy, and we understand what that means, and we have that process still in place for said staff travel and staff trainings. Is that correct? Ms. Johnson? Ms. Miller, who's answering?
Board President Wade, yes, that is correct. All of our school psychologists have completed the vector training, and in that vector training is the acknowledgement of the conference agreement. I have reviewed the session offerings that will be occurring at NASP with over 1,500 sessions available. I'm pretty confident that our staff will be able to avoid those sessions that do violate our conference agreement. All of our school psychologists that will be attending this conference are aware of that conference agreement, and I've covered that with them.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I motion that the governing board approve the overnight and out-of-state staff travel for the NASP.
Second.
That would be Ms. Schultz seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay, because I don't believe we should be using taxpayer money for such training, even though people get to opt out. We're still using taxpayer money to pay an organization.
It comes from Title II funding. Yes, that's grant money. Great. Wonderful.
Grant money.
7.8, fiscal year 2026 classroom site fund. Any questions or comments from the board before I motion?
I do have quite a bit on this. First, this item should not have been part of consent. This is asking that we give a 6% salary increase, correct?
President Wade, Member Van Hook, it's not to the salary. This is only classroom site fund. This is not M&O dollars.
Correct, but this is increasing the base salary pay by 6%.
No, I think you're misunderstanding. It's increasing $8,110 by 6%, which equates to $487.
Correct.
That is not a base salary increase. A base salary is the amount that someone makes that comes out of M&O. This is classroom site fund.
Okay, but we are utilizing classroom site funds to increase.
This is what classroom site fund is for teachers.
Correct.
For certified staff, anyone who touches a child in the certified staff.
Correct. So classroom teachers, certified staff, teacher performance pay, class size reductions, teacher pay increases, instructional support, and student support services. That's what classroom site funds cover. And so we are increasing by 6%.
$487, yes.
Okay. And based on my understanding, we do you know what the total amount that we have in that classroom site fund account?
I do not. Mrs. Rushkamp, do you have that number?
Yeah, currently with, when we will be bringing this for the December amendment, it's over 20 million in that.
Okay. Okay, so that does confirm. So we have about 27 million, I believe, in our classroom site funds. And so we budgeted about 12 million, which leaves a balance of about 15 million in that. I absolutely support increasing this. My concern is this is based on Prop 301, which is all entirely funded by sales tax. So if sales tax drops or our enrollment continues to decline, this is a permanent increase. And so my concern is, could the district face a shortfall if any of those things change?
Member Van Hook, what would happen if this fund were to decrease or deplete? It would go away. This is a separate fund. This is not M&O dollars.
I understand that.
So with that said, if there is no longer Prop 301 CFS dollars, then there is no longer any payment for the teachers.
And also, last year, the classroom site fund money that we received was much higher, and we were able to actually give teachers a raise, whereas wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Through the classroom site fund, yes, that is correct, Mr. Glover.
Correct. So based on my understanding, JLBC is just, this is like not moving as far as increasing, but also possibly statewide over the next 3 years could be reducing. My concern is if we do this and we do see a decrease in CSF, would that then force us to have to use M&O funds to keep up with the increase?
Member Van Wade, no, we would, Van Hook, no, we would not. We would just use what is funded in that fund. It's not, this is separate. So it is not part of their base. It is classroom site fund. And so if the fund decreases and we run out of money, then we run out of money and they no longer get this. Could it be possible that the district would want to do something like that? That would really depend on our current financial situation. So, but we are not obligated. These are separate funds.
Yes, I do
And it's
understand.
negotiated each year through meet and confer, and then brought forward to the board to approve and to implement.
Right, so we have 27 million in our classroom site funds, in addition to our 15 million in our M&O carryover. And those are significant amounts of money that we do have, which, I mean, for the purposes of the override, like we claimed budget cuts, small, we need the money to reduce class sizes, to salary increases, but we do have all this money to do that. And so it upsets me to know that that was never shared with the community, that we have all these funds. So it's not.
We've shared all this information.
The classroom site funds.
3 times a year we have budgets.
Okay.
And this stuff is shared.
During the override process, the fact that we pushed for an override, saying that the override was needed to maintain classroom sizes and teacher salaries, but we do have a significant amount in our classroom site funds to be able to do those things. And I just want to point out that that money is there in addition to our M&O funds. But I also want to make sure that if the classroom site fund decreases, that base salary remains the same, or at that point, would you reduce it?
Member Van Hook, basically, M&O dollars cover the base salary. The classroom site fund is in addition to that. So when it says base salary on this document, it just means in addition to their current base salary. If we were to, say, use some of the classroom site fund to give maybe a one-time stipend or something, yes, we could move that. We could decrease that amount in that classroom site fund. But remember, only certified personnel can be given that money. That means administrators are exempt, anyone who is classified exempt, anyone who is classified hourly is not eligible for this. Certified personnel only. And that is, just a portion of our employees. So saying that we could use that 27 million, we can use some of it for certified personnel at this time.
Right, but the document specifically says base salary. And so it is increasing the base salary by the 6%. And so my concern is I want to make sure that this is sustainable long-term. And
Since the classroom site fund currently has $27 million, I would say it's sustainable at this point.
And for how long is my concern? Is because classroom site funds are not, it's not guaranteed money. And so based on the fluctuation of sales tax and declining enrollment, that could absolutely change. So I want to ensure that it is sustainable long-term. And
Member Van Hook, I'd be happy to run some numbers with Mrs. Rushkamp and come back and see how far our $27 million would take us.
that would be great. That was my next question. I'd like to see maybe a 3-year projection for CSF revenues, and then also a cost projection of the raise. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a lot to unpack with some of this. First and foremost, I need to reiterate, because it feels strongly that the word choice was, whether by intention or not, confusing. This does not increase base salary. This does not increase base salary. This does not increase base salary. If you are a teacher in this state, we have for a number of years underfunded you, and so we come up with other ways to pay you. 301 is one of those things in which you perform, then we say we will give you these types of things. And this is how the state has maintained underfunding staff, and we as a district have to do everything we can to try to be extremely and overwhelmingly creative. Again, something I am looking forward to, and by that is sarcasm, and how we can be creative into next year's budget. This is something that all teachers get, assuming you qualify for certain things, as we talked about certified staff versus not, going to other locations, other districts, etc. To Mr. Glover's point, we literally made this decision last year when our community, yet again, failed to recognize what Higley is in and what position we are in that we said, staff, we cannot give you raises. And what we can do is figure out how to be creative, and the Classroom Site Fund is that. And that is how we are allowed to be creative for some of these things. Prop 301 used to be tied to your performance back when I started teaching, and those things continue to change. For clarity, should our continued decline in economic standing and we get less and less money, we'll have less and less funds. We approved this last year, which means then we will have to go through this same process, and if it is not sustainable, then we don't present it or we don't approve it, and all of those things. So to suggest that we have grave concerns, the question is right now, next year, can we do this? Ms. Rushkamp, right now, next year, can we do this?
President Wade, yes, we could do this.
Great. And so we figure out ways here as a board in Higley to say to the staff we have, I see you, I feel what you feel at the present moment in time, and these are steps we can take to assist in those areas. And so we will do what we can, where we can. As far as all the other comments with respect to the override and budgeting, it's not on the agenda, so when we talk about budgeting and where we are at and what we have to look for, I will gladly engage in those conversations. I will keep it to what the agenda item is at the present, which is Classroom Site Fund. Thank you for both of your answers. Mr. Glover, go ahead.
Thank you. I just, want to echo, not even echo, but just say, we have an arcane system for school funding, public school fund, traditional public school funding in Arizona, set up by our state legislature. So this can be confusing. It's hard to understand. It's weird that you have a little portion of a salary that can only go to certain things, but that's the reality in which we live. Right now, this action item that we're voting on is for next year, 2025, 2026. It's an action item that went through our processes that is being put before us to approve. I don't know what's going to be happening in 2027, 2028. We could be World War III. Who knows? So this action is for 2025, 2026. I have some things that I want to discuss on future agenda items because there are serious budget issues that we're going to address. But right now, sticking to this item, we should be voting on this for 2025, 2026, and we should stick to that.
This does not increase base salary, but the document literally says base salary. So if it's not base salary, then let's change the wording because the document literally says base salary. So we can argue that all day long, but I'm looking at the words on the paper and that's exactly what it says. And as far as topic of the agenda, it does apply because we are asking community for money when this money also exists in addition to our MNO. So, as I said, I do support giving staff an increase. I just want to make sure.
How? I'd like to know how.
What do
Because
you
I
mean
haven't
how?
ever heard you say anything about giving staff
Well,
more money.
you haven't
So go
been
ahead
here
and come with some
for
ideas.
longer than 11 months, so I have said that. And I voted for it last year, so I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. But my point is, I want to ensure that it is sustainable. That's all.
Board Member Wade, Sharon Rushkamp. I love the thought, I don't like the contention, honestly, but I love the thought of teachers getting raises. You know, that's kind of this underlying truth that I really have seen in the district is we have to find that balance where we are technically a little competitive to the district. So if we could strategize and actually look in the future to account that these, you know, raises are doable and figure out that wiggle room where we, you know, listen to, like, see what the voters have said about the override and stuff like that, but find that wiggle space to make sure that we're kind of protecting our bases. That way we are looking in the future, you know, and I understand that we can't predict everything and all that kind of stuff, but being judicious, which is how I feel that, you know, the district is trying to be in all the conversations that I've had in general. If we can, instead of just being like victims of the next couple years, if we could find something that's very doable to really kind of propel our teachers. I mean, sadly, money motivates people, or, you know, not sadly, I don't know. It's the truth of the matter. But making sure that we just kind of have that foresight to make sure that these increases are sustainable. What are your thoughts on that?
President Wade, Board Member Jarman, yes, absolutely. I mean, Mr. Moore has been doing that since he started at Higley. I will continue that. Yes, absolutely.
I appreciate it.
And I have always supported more money into the classroom, and this is a great way to get more money into the classroom, and I absolutely support it. And as I said, I want to ensure the sustainability of it based on these funds not being permanent. That's all.
I find it rich that we sit here and express that you advocate and we have talked about what is and is not sustainable. So the statement of grow up to my person at the present is choice. It is. It's delightful. I motion that the governing board approve the fiscal year 2026 classroom site fund plan.
Second.
That would be Ms. Jarman seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Future agenda items. Does anyone have any requests for future agenda items?
Madam President.
Yes.
So I'm going to talk about the items and explain what I'm asking for. So I just ask for your indulgence. If you have comments, you can make them after. But I think since there will be likely cuts over the next 5 years, this is going to mean increased pressure on staff, certified and classified, and admins. So what can we do to simplify things? This is what I've been thinking about since the election day. I'd love to see a committee started that includes classified and certified, and ask them what are other things, and this is what people were asking us, what are other things that we can take away to relieve pressure? And sometimes even if they don't cost money, what can we take away to alleviate the pressure? Because they're going to teachers, classroom teachers and people in the classroom are going to, and in our front offices and everywhere, are going to have less support. So I just would suggest that Cabinet get together, go to each campus, talk, listen, ask for things that we can remove to decrease the pressure, and include that in information items along the way as people have asked for, to be clear as we have to make budget decisions. I also would say that if it's likely that there will be fewer administrators than we had last year at some point. So to simplify the evaluation instrument, I think would be an important thing to do. We, as a governing board, we have the ability to do that. I'm really thinking of veteran teachers, maybe not having to go through as robust an evaluation as we have. Maybe they could, once they've proved proficiency after 5 or 7 years and getting high marks, that would allow our administrators to focus on the teachers that need improvement and to support the new teachers coming into the profession. and give people time to respond to that idea. I would float it out to them. With regards to boundary exemptions, I would like to know, and we can run a report, and I would like it to be given to the governing board, what boundary exemptions we have by school for kids in Higley that are going to other Higley schools, and then boundary exemptions outside of Higley and what schools that they are going to. That may give us insights into what some of our strengths are and what are some of the things in which we can improve. Elementary schedules. I am fully in support of all the things that were said earlier about specials and the importance of them. I do also understand, and I see the value of departmentalizing in grades 5 and 6. Not everybody does, and I don't have to be right on that. But I'd like to see science and social studies taught daily, because the extreme focus that this country has on ELA and math, sometimes those subjects get lost, which is too bad, because those are things that interest kids and make school interesting. But they also do include reading and writing and math in those subjects. So it's worth talking to schools about their ideas of departmentalizations and see what that would save us. I shared an example with Superintendent Lotzenheiser and Mr. Armstrong about something that we have called win time, and I think we have different practices going on at our schools. So I'd like to have a presentation at some point, maybe of an exemplary school and their elementary schedule and what they're doing. A lot of times when we make elementary schedules, they're made and they just get regurgitated year after year. But are there things and have a serious, earnest discussion that can be changed or moved or juggled around so that we can ensure, hopefully, that we're able to address all these elective concerns and teachers get time off during the school day away from kids. And then, absenteeism was mentioned a lot. And so governing boards have the ability to issue credit or not credit. I would like to see a report, actually, and I think Mr. Campbell could probably run it without too much trouble. First and second semester, maybe pick grades, I don't know, maybe grades 5 to 12, and see a report, first semester, second semester, the number of students we have that come to school that miss more than 12 days a semester. And then I would like to also know how many of those are duplicates. In other words, they miss 12 days first semester and 20 days second semester. We don't have to offer credit once a certain number of days are met, but we have to change policy. So that's what I'm getting at here, is this is a policy thing that could come up. But I will tell you, as a teacher, it is exhausting when you have a kid that only comes to school 2 or 3 days a week and you're constantly trying to catch them up. We waste a lot of time and energy and money trying to catch them up, and sometimes, like for win time, they're not even there. So anyway, I would like to know a little bit about that. And then lastly, I think for our own sanity and good, I hate to say it, but we know what it takes to sell or lease property, but to close a school, I think we need to be familiar with whatever that might constitute, what legal laws and things like that we have to comply with, what kind of timeline that might be. So those are just a couple of things that I have been pondering, and they don't need to make it onto December, but but as we move through the process, these are all things.
Does anyone else have future agenda items?
Yes, I would like to see a policy brought forward or figure out what current policy can be amended to add the Mahmood versus Taylor ruling for the parental opt-out based on religious beliefs.
This brings us to adjournment. I motion to adjourn the meeting. That would be Ms. Schultz seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Schultz? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Have a safe trip home, folks.